Get ready because the news cycle is absolutely firing on all cylinders today. We've got major shifts happening, groundbreaking announcements, and critical debates that you won't want to miss. From legislative battles that could reshape industries to innovations pushing the boundaries of what's possible, this is your essential download. Stick around because we're diving into it all right now. First up, a significant political debate is heating up over the future of postal service vehicles. Then, we'll explore a major automotive innovation that's set to redefine expectations. We're also looking at the latest in environmental policy and its real-world impact. And finally, a deep dive into the evolving landscape of consumer technology. You need to know what's happening, and we've got it all covered. Don't go anywhere. Political crossroads for postal fleet. The U.S. Postal Service is at a critical juncture, facing significant congressional opposition to its ambitious plan to transition a substantial portion of its aging, gas-powered fleet to electric vehicles, EVs. This push, initially lauded a year ago, is now under intense scrutiny from Republican lawmakers who are attempting to block billions in federal funding allocated for this transition. The core of the debate centers on cost, savings versus environmental benefits and modernization. A key moment in this legislative battle occurred in June when the Senate parliamentarian blocked a Republican proposal within a major tax and spending bill. This proposal aimed to divest the agency of its newly acquired electric vehicles and related infrastructure, while also revoking any remaining federal financial support. Despite this setback for opponents, efforts to derail the Postal Service's clean energy initiative persist, primarily framed around reducing operational costs. Donald Maston, president of the National Rural Letter Carriers Association, voiced strong concerns about the potential consequences of halting the program. He argued that canceling the EV initiative now would be a short-sighted decision, leading to the squandering of millions of dollars already invested in infrastructure. He believes such a move would be counterproductive, effectively wasting public funds. From a broader environmental perspective, many in the scientific community are worried that abandoning or significantly altering the EV plan would mean missing a crucial opportunity to reduce carbon emissions. These emissions are recognized as major contributors to global warming, a phenomenon requiring urgent action. Professor Gregory A. Keolian, co-director of the University of Michigan's Center for Sustainable Systems, highlighted the findings of a 2022 study from his university. The study indicated that the new electric postal vehicles could potentially cut total greenhouse gas emissions by up to 20 million tons over their predicted 20-year lifespan. While acknowledging this is a fraction of the nation's total annual emissions, Keolian stressed the critical importance of accelerating the transition to electric vehicles in light of the escalating impacts of climate change, noting that we're already falling short of goals for reducing emissions. On the political front, many Republican lawmakers echo President Donald Trump's skepticism towards the Biden administration's green energy agenda. They argue that the Postal Service should prioritize its core mission of mail delivery over adopting new technologies. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa has been particularly vocal, stating that the Postal Service's heavy investment in an all-electric fleet didn't make sense, and calling it a textbook example of waste. She cited concerns regarding delays in vehicle production, high costs, and the performance of EVs in cold weather. Senator Ernst has indicated her intention to pursue legislation to reclaim the $3 billion allocated from the Inflation Reduction Act, which was meant to offset the $10 billion cost of the new postal vehicles. She specifically referenced Wisconsin-based Oshkosh Defense, the contracted manufacturer, noting their significant production delays and questioning their ability to fulfill the contract. For now, she added, gas-powered vehicles use some ethanol in them, I think is wonderful, a statement that aligns with agricultural interests in her home state. Representative Michael Cloud of Texas, a co-sponsor of the rollback efforts, criticized the EV order, stating the project delivered nothing but delays, defective trucks, and skyrocketing costs. The Postal Service, however, maintains that production delays have been very modest and are a natural part of scaling up new manufacturing processes. Spokesperson Kim From stated that the ramp-up was intentionally gradual to allow for the resolution of any initial production or supplier issues. The Postal Service's modernization plan, valued at $40 billion over 10 years, includes the electrification of its fleet. This initiative has the backing of President Joe Biden, who has committed to transitioning the entire federal fleet to electric power. The current Grumman long-life vehicles, many dating back to 1987, are fuel inefficient and past their operational lifespan, prone to breakdowns. The agency aims to replace at least 66,000 vehicles by 2028 with EVs, having already received a Presidential Sustainability Award in 2024 for its electrification efforts. Oshkosh Defense was contracted in 2021 for up to 165,000 next-generation vehicles, with a focus on battery electric models. The agency has ordered 51,500 NGDVs, including 35,000 battery-powered units, though only a fraction have been delivered so far. The Postal Service asserts that the NGDV purchases are a sound business decision, with deployment focused on routes offering cost savings. Hold on, because the debate over how we power our nation's essential services is far from over. Next, we're shifting gears to explore a groundbreaking development in automotive manufacturing. Ford's electric frontier, a $30,000 pickup revolution. Ford is set to make a significant splash in the electric vehicle market with the upcoming release of its new electric pickup truck, slated to begin rolling out in 2027. What's particularly noteworthy is the projected starting price of just $30,000, a figure that could dramatically alter the accessibility and adoption rate of electric trucks for a wider consumer base. This announcement positions Ford to compete directly in a segment that has seen increasing interest, but has often been hampered by higher price points. This move by Ford comes at a time when the automotive industry is undergoing a seismic shift towards electrification. While established automakers are investing billions in EV technology, the entry of a major player like Ford with a competitively priced pickup truck signals a potential acceleration of this transition. The $30,000 price point is crucial, as it aims to capture a significant portion of the traditional pickup truck market, which has historically been very price-sensitive. This strategy could challenge existing EV manufacturers and potentially pressure them to reconsider their own pricing structures. The development of this new EV pickup is part of a broader trend across the automotive sector. Many companies are grappling with the complexities of battery technology, charging infrastructure, and consumer demand. Ford's commitment to a $30,000 starting price suggests a focus on optimizing manufacturing processes, potentially leveraging new battery chemistries or platform designs to keep costs down without sacrificing essential performance. The company has a long history with pickup trucks, with its F-Series line being a perennial bestseller, giving it a deep understanding of customer needs and preferences in this segment. Details about the truck's specifications, such as range, towing capacity, and charging speed, are still emerging, but the initial price announcement has already generated considerable buzz. Industry analysts are closely watching how Ford will balance cost, performance, and utility to meet the expectations of truck buyers. The challenge lies in delivering a vehicle that not only offers the ruggedness and capability expected from a pickup, but also incorporates the advanced technology and efficiency of an electric powertrain at an accessible price. Furthermore, the timing of the 2027 rollout is strategic. By then, it's anticipated that charging infrastructure will be more widespread, and battery costs will have continued to decline, making the overall ownership experience for EV trucks more appealing. This allows Ford to capitalize on a maturing EV ecosystem while introducing a product designed to be a volume seller. The broader implications of Ford's affordable electric pickup extend beyond just the automotive market. It could influence consumer behavior, encouraging more individuals and businesses to consider electric alternatives for their daily transportation and work needs. If successful, this model could serve as a blueprint for other manufacturers looking to electrify popular vehicle segments at lower price points. Consumers have shown increasing interest in electric trucks, driven by environmental concerns, lower running costs, and the appeal of new technology. However, high upfront costs have remained a significant barrier for many. Ford's aggressive pricing strategy aims to remove this barrier, potentially democratizing access to electric pickup trucks and accelerating their adoption. This launch also occurs against the backdrop of evolving government regulations and incentives aimed at promoting EV adoption. While specific incentives for this particular Ford model are yet to be detailed, the general trend of supportive policies could further enhance its market appeal. The company's investment in this segment signifies a long-term commitment to electrification, aligning with global efforts to reduce carbon emissions and transition away from fossil fuels. This innovative release from Ford is definitely one to keep your eyes on as the EV landscape continues to evolve. And speaking of evolution, we're turning our attention to critical environmental policy debates shaping our future. Environmental policy under the microscope, EVs and emissions debates. The intersection of environmental policy, technological advancement, and public service is currently a focal point, particularly concerning the U.S. Postal Service's fleet modernization. While the service is pushing for a significant transition to electric vehicles, EVs, this initiative faces considerable political headwinds. The core of the contention lies in the allocation of federal funding and the perceived economic viability versus the environmental imperative. A University of Michigan study highlights the potential environmental benefits, estimating that the new electric postal vehicles could cut total greenhouse gas emissions by up to 20 million tons over their 20-year lifespan. Professor Gregory A. Keolian, a co-director at the university's Center for Sustainable Systems, emphasizes the urgency of accelerating EV adoption to combat climate change, noting that current emission reduction goals are not being met. This scientific perspective underscores the importance of such fleet transitions for achieving broader environmental targets. However, the political landscape presents a different view. Many Republican lawmakers, aligning with former President Donald Trump's stance on green energy, have expressed skepticism. Senator Joni Ernst, for example, has criticized the Postal Service's investment in EVs as a textbook example of waste, citing concerns about production delays, costs, and cold weather performance. She is actively pursuing legislation to rescind $3 billion in funding from the Inflation Reduction Act that was earmarked for the EV transition. This opposition is partly driven by concerns over the manufacturing capabilities of Oshkosh Defense, the primary contractor, which has faced production challenges. Representative Michael Cloud has echoed these sentiments, labeling the EV project as delivering nothing but delays, defective trucks, and skyrocketing costs. The Postal Service, while acknowledging some production ramp-up challenges, maintains that these are modest and expected for a large-scale rollout. Spokesperson Kim Frum noted that the production plan was designed to be gradual to allow for issue resolution. The broader context for EV adoption in the United States reveals a complex picture. While consumer adoption reached record levels in 2024, influenced by incentives and growing climate awareness, policy shifts can impact this growth. Recent moves to curb incentives and tariffs on EV parts pose potential threats. Data from J.D. Power indicates that EVs held about 8.6% of the new vehicle retail market in 2023, with projections suggesting a plateau. States like California, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Oregon are leading in EV adoption, often due to higher urbanization rates, denser charging networks, and local incentives. Conversely, rural areas often face barriers due to lower population density, which disincentivizes extensive charging infrastructure development and results in longer commutes, contributing to range anxiety. The economic implications for states are also noteworthy. Increased EV adoption can lead to reduced revenues from gas taxes, prompting some states to consider new fees, such as mileage-based charges, to compensate for lost revenue. Furthermore, regulations in states like Nebraska, Louisiana, Iowa, and Arkansas make direct-to-consumer sales difficult for EV manufacturers, potentially increasing costs for consumers. This multifaceted debate highlights the tension between immediate cost concerns and long-term environmental goals. The Postal Service's decision, backed by the Biden administration's commitment to an all-electric federal fleet, represents a significant step in federal fleet modernization. The outcome of these political challenges will not only affect the Postal Service, but could also set precedents for other government agencies and the wider adoption of electric vehicles across the nation. This ongoing discussion about sustainability and policy is crucial for understanding our path forward. Now, let's pivot to a different sector where innovation is also making waves: the consumer technology space. The shifting sands of EV adoption, state-by-state analysis. The landscape of electric vehicle, EV, adoption in the United States is characterized by significant regional disparities, influenced by a complex interplay of government incentives, infrastructure availability, and consumer behavior. While national adoption rates are climbing, the hospitality of different states towards EV owners varies considerably, creating a patchwork of experiences across the country. Recent data indicates that EV adoption is on the rise, with record numbers of Americans purchasing and using these vehicles in 2024. This growth is attributed to a combination of federal, state, and local incentives, alongside increased public awareness regarding the environmental impact of greenhouse gases. However, potential policy shifts, such as changes in tax credits and tariffs on EV components, could temper this growth. In 2023, EVs constituted approximately 8.6% of the new vehicle retail market, a figure projected by J.D. Power to reach about 9.1% by 2025. While California remains the leader in EV adoption, states like New York, Florida, and Colorado have shown the most significant growth. A comprehensive analysis by Stacker, utilizing data from the Department of Energy and the Tax Foundation, evaluated states based on factors like charging station availability per EV, supportive laws and incentives, and the annual cost of EV ownership. This evaluation revealed distinct patterns. States with high urbanization rates, such as California 94.2%, New Jersey 93.8%, Connecticut 86.3%, and Oregon 80.5%, tend to be the most EV-friendly. These areas typically benefit from denser charging networks, shorter commute times, and localized adoption incentives, making EV ownership more convenient and appealing. Conversely, states with significant rural populations often present greater challenges for EV adoption. Lower population density in rural areas typically leads to less investment in charging infrastructure. This insufficient infrastructure is a critical barrier, compounded by longer commute distances and the increased potential for range anxiety among rural residents. States identified as least EV-friendly include South Dakota, 57.2% urbanization, Nebraska, 73%, Louisiana, 71.5%, Iowa, 63.2%, and Arkansas, 55.5%. These states generally offer fewer additional EV tax credits, have a lower density of charging stations relative to EVs, and report fewer registered EVs. The economic impact of EV adoption on state revenues is also a growing concern. As more consumers switch to EVs, states that rely heavily on gasoline taxes for infrastructure funding face potential revenue shortfalls. In response, some states are exploring alternative revenue streams, such as mileage-based user fees, to maintain transportation budgets. Vermont, for instance, is considering a miles-traveled fee system. Furthermore, state regulations can significantly impact the EV market. Several states, including Nebraska, Louisiana, Iowa, and Arkansas, have laws that hinder direct-to-consumer sales models, which are often utilized by EV manufacturers like Tesla. These regulations can increase the cost and complexity of purchasing an EV compared to traditional dealership models. In summary, the most EV-friendly states, California, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Connecticut, and Oregon, provide a combination of substantial state tax credits, robust charging infrastructure, and supportive policies. They also tend to have higher numbers of registered EVs. The least friendly states, on the other hand, lack these advantages, creating a less conducive environment for EV owners. This disparity underscores the need for consistent and comprehensive policies to support EV adoption nationwide, particularly in addressing the infrastructure gaps in rural areas. Understanding these state-level trends is key to grasping the broader EV movement. That wraps up our deep dive into today's top stories. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. That was a whirlwind tour of today's biggest headlines. We saw political battles over postal EVs, Ford's game-changing $30,000 electric pickup, critical debates on environmental policy, and a look at the diverse EV adoption landscape across states. If you found this info valuable, smash that like button, subscribe to ElectroDrive News for your daily dose of electrifying updates, and ring that notification bell to stay ahead of the curve. We also want to hear from you, so drop a comment below with your thoughts on these stories. And for more real-time news and discussions, follow us on all our social media channels. Thanks for watching.